Sean Hook's Newsmaker Saturday starts now.
Thanks for joining us for Newsmaker Saturday. We're going to hear from Fox 10 investigator Justin Lum in a moment on the Doomsday mom murder trial, the trial of Lori Vallow. But we're going to begin with the flooding in Flagstaff. The city has been plagued by water cascading into neighborhoods, parks, and developments ever since fires burned in the mountains over the last several years. Pile on top of that what's become an unbelievable winter snowpack, and you have a recipe for disaster. Vice Mayor of Flagstaff, Aslan, joins me now. Beautiful picture. It's why we all love Flagstaff. This is really worrisome, isn't it, Austin?
Yeah, thank you, John. You know, this is a big concern for a lot of different neighborhoods in Flagstaff all over the city. And it's not necessarily something we could have predicted ahead of time, given the nature of the slopes and the way that fires burn and the way that water runs off of them.
So what are the neighborhoods that are specifically in the most harm's way?
Well, right now we've got issues on the west side of town over by 180 in the Coconino Estates neighborhood and the Cheshire neighborhood and downstream of there. We have runoff that's happening post-Schultz fire, post-museum fire, post-tunnel fire that is creating issues with snowpack and just the way that traditionally water has run off the mountain. It's not doing that anymore. It's coming down any which way it can, and we're playing catch up.
And you guys are sandbagging like crazy, and the help from neighbors and the community is really awe-inspiring. It's really nice to see.
Yeah, I think so. You know, the neighbors are really being good to each other. I think a lot of us realize that this could have hit anywhere. And we may be next when the next fire comes through. You know, it's really hard to predict how these things are going to fall out. And we're doing a lot at the city here, too, just to try to stay on top of things and try to get ahead of things a little bit. We put in under the course of 6 months, a really large sediment basin that collects water coming up off the mountain and just buys us a little bit of time. Cleans up the debris coming out of there so it's not getting caught up in our culverts, and allowing us to redirect that water and tap the flow and control the rate of flow as much as possible while we can. But there's still a lot to do, and it's an expensive prospect. But, you know, one of the ways that neighbors are getting behind this is we passed a bond 441 this past November with 76% of the vote. And that shows a lot of support for our ongoing stormwater projects, helping us to get ahead of the game on the snow melt and runoff and future fire events.
Flagstaff Vice Mayor Aslan joining us about the flooding situation in Flagstaff. How much help from the feds, Austin, have you guys gotten?
Well, we're getting a lot of help from the feds. I think a lot of that is coming from new dollars that are available in the past several years. But also, this is not a problem that we're just reacting to blindly. I will tell you, John, we have been working to prevent post-fire flooding and to mitigate climate change for years and years. I was part of a delegation that went to D.C. Before the pandemic began, where we secured $52 million from the Army Corps of Engineers to really clean up the Rio de Flag, which is not exactly a river, but it can be when the flooding gets bad. And this is a project that will take floodwaters in a 100-year event, a 500-year event, and direct it away from the NEU campus, the South Side neighborhood, and put it into a more appropriate channel where it can go away. And this will take these neighborhoods out of these flood areas and hopefully alleviate the pocketbook a little bit in terms of flood insurance and also the ability to resell homes and to develop the area.
Austin, help me with the geography here. I get a little confused. Is the Rio de Flag flooding, is that the area? Linda Williams was up there this week, and she was interviewing a man who now literally has lakefront property. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, there's a couple things going on. So we have a breach in the levee on Lake Mary.
That was the groundhogs, by the way, right?
Groundhogs.
Unreal.
The prairie dogs. They put holes into the levee and it got breached. So that water is doing exactly what it was expected to do, how things were built. It's flowing into Walnut Canyon, perfect. There's a lot of sinkholes there, and it's a lot of good recharge. No big deal. But the flooding that we get in town comes off of, the area of the mountain where Snow Bowl is, for example,
Yes.
on the west side there. And it comes down into this area called the Rio de Flag, through lots of different neighborhoods, and it gets channelized into historically an issue of disparity way back in the day. These waters were intentionally directed into the poorer neighborhoods of Flagstaff. And now we're trying to fix that mistake from decades and decades ago. And there's also other parts of the mountain where water's coming off of, and it flows into the east side of town. So this is areas like Linda Vista and Grandview, which I'm sure your viewers are familiar
Yes.
with. There was a famous Prius that floated down the road a couple years ago.
Yep.
And this is the area behind me right now, on the other side of town. So we're tackling this from every angle.
Yeah, I'm struck, Austin. I'm looking at this, and by the way, we have a little bit of interruption on your signal from time to time, so please bear with us at home, because Austin was kind enough to join us in the great outdoors. But I'm struck by the fact there is no snow behind you. It looks very nice and warm. You're in shirt sleeves. And how worried are you about more fires?
Well, we're pretty worried about the fires. If it's not because it's too dry, it's because there was too much snow, and now there's too much fuel building up in the area. So if it's not one thing, it's another.
Yes.
The snowpack is still very big on the mountain behind me. I couldn't really get an angle of the peaks, but it's full of snow, and that's going to take weeks and weeks and weeks for all of that to melt off. And right now, the water levels on the Rio are high enough that they occasionally tip over some of the bridges and culverts and create flooding of its own. That happened a lot last week. I expect it to happen again. Just really being hit hard on multiple levels from these disasters related to fires and subsequent post-fire flooding.
How are you doing on that culvert that is partially blocked with debris and stuff? Or how are you doing on that whole thing? Because that's a problem spot too, right?
Yes, and there's some subsidence going on there. It's an old culvert. It was built incorrectly in the beginning. So that's another example of how we're trying to play catch up with past mistakes. And there is some debris caught up in there. The bigger question is the subsidence that's happening. The ground is sinking a little bit around the fire station, and the sidewalk there is collapsing. Big headache, but it's also an opportunity. We're working with ADOT. It's really their jurisdiction to get access into there and maybe take care of a couple cleanup projects we need to do, kill a couple birds with one stone.
I don't want to alarm people because Flagstaff is such a destination, especially when it starts to warm up. People love to get out of the valley and go up there. I want to give you a second to just say that life is going on in Flagstaff and you welcome people coming up. I mean, that's kind of your lifeblood, right?
There's no need for us to be alarmist here. Our community is resilient. It's growing. It is a beautiful afternoon here. I'm actually a little bit chilly right now.
Oh, really?
In the wind.
Okay.
But yeah, the ski resort's still open though, and we're a Four Seasons destination. Life goes on here in Flagstaff. The flooding is really we know where it is and we know when it's going to happen. So it's not like we're going to be caught off guard by these things. They're just larger infrastructure projects that are kind of sticky and take money and time to cut through all the red tape and get it done.
Austin, are the neighbors impacted by this? How do I put this? Is there a way to make them whole? Or do you just, if you move into that area, you know the risk? Or maybe you don't know the risk. I don't know the answer to that.
Well, the problem, John, is that these are new experiences that residents are having. There is no way to really predict that these areas would be flood prone after a specific fire event. So my heart really goes out to neighbors and community members that live in the path of these particular events. The fire could have gone up the slope a different direction and it would have been an entirely different neighborhood that was affected. It's hard to prepare for all of that at once. It's expensive and at some level it's unnecessary. But learning how to react quickly to the specifics on the ground is an important thing we're going through here. And yes, the residents absolutely need some relief. There are certain residents that are very tired of putting up sandbags all the time. We need to get away from mitigation and develop a better adaptations.
Yep, you're going to be living with this. Really appreciate your time. Vice Mayor of Flagstaff, Austin Aslan, joining us, and really great to see you. Flagstaff's a beautiful place. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Come on up and visit.
Oh, I will. I will. Austin, thank you. Justin Lum covering the trial of the so-called doomsday mom, Lori Vallow, accused of killing her 2 children. Justin knows this story like no one else, and he's my guest next on Newsmaker Saturday. Back on Newsmaker Saturday, it may not be the trial of the century, but in Arizona, it has become a big, big deal. The trial of the so-called doomsday mom, Lori Vallow. She's accused of killing her 2 children, Joshua, J.J. Vallow, and Tylee Ryan. Our investigator, Justin Lum, has spent considerable time in the last 4 years covering this case, and now the trial going on in Boise, Idaho. Justin joins us now on Newsmaker Saturday. Good to see you. Welcome back.
Thanks for having me, John.
It's an odyssey, and one thing has changed since you took on this story 4 years ago. You've become a father. So how hard was it for you to watch some of this evidence in court, which was very graphic?
I appreciate you asking that because definitely it was excruciating to look at these photos played slide by slide. Graphic evidence of Lori Vallow's children. J.J. Vallow was 7 years old. We saw a photo of him earlier in court of him wearing his red pajamas, the last time he was seen. Photo that she took and recovered from her iCloud account. And then we see autopsy photos of J.J. wearing those same pajamas. And it is very graphic. He was bound with duct tape around his arms and his head. And then we're shown J.J. without the duct tape. And you recognize his face. You know this little boy and you've seen him.
How did the jury react to that?
That was extremely hard. Oh, the jury was definitely having the most emotional moment they had throughout this process at the time last week. And you could see that they were trying to hold back the tears. They have a service to do, and they were, trying to take notes. And you saw some jurors that were staring for a reaction at Lori Vallow, especially when
they wanted to get a read on her.
They wanted to see how she would react, especially when we were seeing the remains of her daughter, Tylee, her own daughter that we could not recognize because of the condition her remains were found in. I mean,
she was burned,
charred bones and burned flesh in a shallow grave. Just terrible.
We need to push your special because I think if you're trying to catch up, this has got so many tentacles, it's really hard to follow it. Murder, Money, and the End of Days, the Lori Vallow story. You can get it on our Fox 10 YouTube page. You can go scan the QR code on your screen right now, and it'll take you there. And it's a really good primer for people trying to kind of catch up with how this all went down. How would you describe, if you were just talking to somebody casually, and they said, what is this Lori Vallow thing all about? Where would you even start?
Yeah, I really don't know where you start. You could go many different routes, but yes, our title for the special we worked on, Murder, Money, and the End of Days, really paints a picture and shows you the foundation of how this all started in the Valley. I mean, really, so much evidence is right here from the shooting in July of 2019 when Lori's 4th husband was shot and killed by her brother. And then you dig into it and you find out that her husband was really laying out all this evidence against his wife and sounding the alarm and asking for help. He believed that she really had an issue evolving with her religious beliefs at the time. So you have the
This is Lori's husband at the time.
This is Lori's estranged husband at the time, Charles Vallow.
Charles Vallow.
And he lays out her beliefs. And no one seemed to listen at the time because there was nothing very, very alarming going on. And if you're an officer looking at him, you might not believe him. You may think he sounded crazy. And now that all this has happened, it really, I mean, wow.
And he ends up dead.
And he ends up shot and killed.
How many people, I'm trying to total it up, how many people end up dead in this story?
Right now, there are 5 people. There are 2 spouses, Charles Vallow and then Tammy Daybell, who is the wife of Chad Daybell, Lori Vallow's now husband. That's something you have to absorb too. You have 2 dead spouses and you have 2 dead kids, and then you have her brother who died of natural causes, but this all happens within a span of months.
It's incredible.
These 5 people that
so
died.
Lori, the long and short of it is Lori Vallow meets Chad Daybell. She's been reading him. He is kind of is it doomsday stuff that he's fixated on?
Yeah, he was a fictional author who wrote about doomsday events and
end
the
of
end
days?
of the world, the end of days. He believed he was a visionary. He said that he had near-death experiences. And so he wrote many books, all fictional, but she had become a fan and had read them years ago before she met him.
Were these only popular within kind of the LDS world, or did he have a wider audience?
I think that there was a niche, a certain audience he had. He was a part of this group or forum called Another Voice of Warning. And these people were very fixated on preparing for the end of days. And so at this conference where they meet in St. George, Utah, October 2018, they become fascinated with each other. And according to investigators, Chad tells Lori that they were married in another life. And this idea seems to attract her, and they start this alleged affair because at the time they're both married to two people. And this happens just months before Charles Vallow is shot and killed here in Chandler. He found out about this.
Chad Daybell pursued Lori Vallow, you believe?
It's hard to tell. They both meet at this conference. What we learned last week is that she helped that day sell his books to people and stood at his stand, his table, and they hit it off. And the story goes that as she was driving back with certain friends, she wanted them to look up scriptures about this figure named James the Less. The story is that Chad allegedly told her that in his past life, he was this apostle to Jesus Christ named James the Less, and that she was married to him and her name was Elena. So he sets the storyline for her, according to investigators. And this becomes this full-on religious mission that they are going to be leading the 144,000 when the end of days come.
She is on trial now for murdering her 2 children.
Yeah.
Death penalty is off the table because of a mistake made by the prosecution in filing.
It was a matter of getting evidence in, disclosing a lot of discovery to the defense on a certain deadline, and the court found that they could sanction them, a discovery sanction, either dismissing the case or taking the death penalty off the table, and you're not going to dismiss this case. So that's what ended up happening.
So Lori Vallow, what is the prosecution's contention of why she needed to kill her own 2 children?
There's no logic to it, but what the prosecution laid out in opening statements was money, power, and sex. And you see this money element with the alleged life insurance motive for both of them. Chad Daybell made $400,000 in life insurance off after his wife's death. Lori wanted to be the beneficiary of her estranged husband, Charles, but he changed the beneficiary before he was killed because he had these huge concerns. That was a $1 million life insurance policy. She's accused of collecting Social Security benefits on behalf of her children. Tylee and JJ, those are thousands of dollars each month. So that's just the money aspect alone, the power from what Chad was allegedly teaching her, that she was this powerful being and that she was a god and all these things. That's where the power element comes into play. And the sex is this affair, as they had started this relationship while they're both supposed to be happily married and had a family. The prosecution has laid that out, and now they're breaking down this argument with the testimony they have.
The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints gets brought up in this, and they must really rebuff any connection between these people and the church, right?
Yeah, you know, there's a lot of people who follow this case that are members of the church, and they are adamant that these are not beliefs that they carry, that they have been taught. From what we've learned throughout this case, it started with, you know, these mainstream beliefs that Chad had, and he added something to it. It definitely went, it's an offshoot. It's an offshoot thing. It's unorthodox. There's nothing that members learn about zombies and dark spirits and light spirits and how you assess people like that. That just doesn't exist there.
So when those 2 meet, It's kind of nitroglycerin. The two of them, it's combustible, the whole thing.
This was a definite spark right away.
And Chad Daybell will go on trial as well for murder, but he does face a death penalty.
Yeah, he does face the death penalty. He has first-degree murder charges in the deaths connected to J.J. Tylee and Tammy. We have learned that Tammy died.
His former wife.
His wife at the time, when she died all of a sudden in her sleep of, now we know it's asphyxiation. And he's accused of murdering her. We did not know the cause of her death, and we still don't know the causes for J.J. and Tylee, just how they were found.
Do we know the relationship now between Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell in this combustible relationship? Are they both cutting and running to save their hide, so to speak? Is one of them hanging on and the other one's cutting and running? I mean, if Lori Vallow is convicted, it's quite possible, is it not, that she could end up testifying against Chad Daybell.
Yeah, that's a possibility. I mean, she is,
and maybe to get a lesser sentence.
She's facing up to life in prison right now. It looks like what the defense is doing is that they're going to paint her as this good mother who was influenced by Chad Daybell.
They're going to put it on him.
And that her brother was involved. He's named a co-conspirator, but he's dead. He can't testify. He can't stand trial. But they also have alibis for her, that she was not in these physical locations when these three people died. But all they have to do is prove a conspiracy, that she was a part of a plan to murder these three victims.
Is that a heavy lift?
Well, that's a good question. With all of the cell phone data and the technology now, we have seen some disturbing things, and it comes at the hand of Chandler police testifying in court last week, showing the text between her and Chad, between her and her inner circle, as they were allegedly trying to cast out these dark spirits. There was an agenda there, that they were talking about the death of her husband, Charles, that it was going to happen. She was trying to predict that. That may show a conspiracy there, and how she never reported her kids missing. I mean, how do you not say one word to police, as police are the ones that are putting out information on your missing children, and you won't cooperate? She never asked.
That had to raise red flags.
That was
immediately.
A huge red flag.
Okay, so for people watching this at this point, what should they be looking for if they're watching the trial? If they're kind of keeping an eye on what's happening, what's the next shoe to drop?
Well, it's going to be more of this evidence. Today we saw a lot of the financial footprint. We've seen the spiritual beliefs. I'm interested to see who else they bring to the stand. Her sister is on the list as a witness, someone who had a visitation with her in jail virtually. What is going to be said on that call? Definitely, there's a lot more witnesses to be brought to the stand by the prosecution.
She wasn't even, for a while, deemed fit mentally to stand trial, right?
Yeah, she's been deemed incompetent and then labeled competent, and there's been this back and forth over the past couple of years.
Have any of her friends or family posited a theory as to why she went down this road, if she did?
Well, her family, really, her immediate family hasn't really been around for this. They have stayed to themselves. They haven't really said much after the kids were found. I think that was a very sobering thing to see, because for a while they had defended her and said she was a great mom, and that's when the kids were missing. Now you don't hear too much, because the reality is that 2 children were found dead in that backyard, and there's also another dead spouse that was asphyxiated, and there's no logical explanation for that. She was a healthy 49-year-old. So I think a lot of people are looking at Lori and how is she going to react to all this. We have rarely seen emotion from her, or remorse. Yeah.
Justin, thank you. And another reminder, Murder, Money, and the End of Days, the Lori Vallow story. You can find it on our Fox 10 Phoenix YouTube page, or you can scan the QR code on your screen. That will take you right there. Justin Lum, great work. Good to see you.
Appreciate you.
We're back in a minute on Newsmaker Saturday.